So you want to get a large size pan, kind of a deep frying pan, and put your burner on a little bit above medium to high. Add 1 pound of lean ground beef and 1 pound of country sauces, pork sauces, and we're going to brown those together. To see the juice bubbling in the bottom of the pan, I go ahead and turn the burner up closer to high, to like an 8, and then we'll be able to get a nice brown on that meat and evaporate some of those. It has browned to the point where you cannot see any more pink in it. You'll notice that there's quite a bit of fat. It's not just juice of meat liquid, it's just like straight fat. So what I do is actually bring the meat over to the faucet and put water inside of the pan. Just until the water kind of like rises to cover it. You can see all that grease kind of floating around. And then we're going to return that to the stove and bring that to a boil. And then we're going to drain off all that fat out of the water. Just go ahead and bring this to a boil on high. And once that's boiling, we're just going to drain that into a colander so that all that grease is drained off. And you can always keep the grease if you just love fat in your food. But we're kind of aiming for more of a low-fat diet these days with Franklin's athleticism, and I'm trying to lose weight. So, you know, we're just going to try and get rid of that grease today. A rolling boil, and we are going to just remove it from the heat and come over to our colander here and just drain that meat into the colander. Turn that meat to the pan and put in a nice healthy portion of garlic, some dried oregano, some dried basil, and just a little sprinkling of salt and pepper. And we're going to just stir that until all of the meat and the garlic is nice and browned. Here I'm adding a jar of tomato basil pasta sauce and also a jar of the roasted garlic pasta sauce. And we'll stir that in with the meat. Those 2 jars of pasta sauce in with the meat mixture and herbs, it should be looking about like this in ratio. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar just to kind of take some of the edge off of that tomato. And stir that in. And you should be able to kind of taste what it's going to taste like at this point. That tastes just right. So we are going to just turn this down to a simmer, about 2, a little lower than 2. I'm going to put a lid on this and just kind of let it rest while we make the lasagna pasta. To at this stage, you can add about 1.5 tablespoons or so of butter, and that also will just take a little bit more of that edge off of the tomato acidity. So next we're going to bring a stock pot to a rolling boil with about half full of water. You want plenty of water to cover the lasagna noodles, so this is probably about maybe 6 quarts or 1.5 gallons of water or so. And this is a pretty tall stock pot, so we're just going to go ahead and bring that lightly salted water to a full rolling boil and then put the noodles in. That water is at a full rolling boil. We're going to put in 16 strips of lasagna. And we are going to let that boil until it's tender or al dente. So Langston wanted to take a little break and go swimming. This is his little pod swing outside. So I have to push him. So what I'm doing is just putting that pasta in cold water so that it doesn't stick to itself, and so it stops cooking. And then I will finish the lasagna in a minute once we get done swinging. So cozy in there with his little blanket, his little pod swing, huh? First piece might serve up a little bit messy. It's not in a perfect square, but as it cools and firms up, it'll actually serve up a little bit more neatly. But you can see it's just so cheesy and lots of meat in there.